Hello everybody, this is Amy Lionheart back with another commentary-based video, and in today's video we are going to be talking about Tekken 7 Season 2. It is my first time actually covering Tekken with commentary. So Tekken 7 Season 2 recently just came out with a new patch, with a few new characters, and there's a lot of changes to this game, as well as a new mechanic called wall bounce that they've incorporated for this patch. And a lot of characters were affected, and there were also plenty of characters that had their share of nerfs and buffs. Some had more nerfs than buffs, some had more buffs than nerfs. And when we start up here, you can see that the main menu interface was changed, and it looks pretty nice. It's pretty dynamic. Still shows the news where you can look, where you can display the news, and it shows everything that's going on. Lei Wulong Anna. We're gonna go in and hit the training mode lab with Miguel so we can see what alterations they gave him. Now, I already read the notes prior. I've already played a few matches, and he's pretty different. He doesn't have his range on his 1-2s or 2-1s. Everybody really wanted that, but he has, you know, a little bit more of a wider hitbox and or narrow hitbox on certain moves, which makes his highs less susceptible to whip. So you can see here also that the character selection screen was also moved around. There's going to be a few more slots for a few more characters, and of course with Negan coming in, and they decided to move Miguel all the way to the bottom left. So we're gonna go into training with Miguel and get Xiao Yu here. And you will also see the stage select screen has been, you know, scaled down a bit. There's 4 more stages that they're going to add. You can tell here they're missing. We're gonna go on an endless stage for this one. Go to Arctic Snowfall. I'm very excited with what they did to Miguel. They buffed him a lot. In the way that they nerfed him, they made a few moves not as great. There's like a lot to look forward to with Miguel now. So I feel like a lot of people are going to start picking him up because prior to Season 2, he wasn't that great. He was still fun and he was still hitting like a truck, but now basically one of his key moves, Savage 2, increased the damage by 4 points, and that's a really good wall combo ender. So just imagine how much damage he's going to do at the wall. So let's take a look at the first alteration they gave him into his notes. I am looking at it through the Tekken World Tour website. First, we're going to look at his first alteration. They did some changes on his rage drive. The first change in there is opponent closer on block after first attack. So I don't know if you guys played Miguel or seen Miguel gameplay. His rage drive was so obsolete. I mean, the only way that it was somewhat useful is comboing it into any of his extensions as the main screw attack and or tailspin, but they made this rage drive a little bit more vortexy, so we can try and have Xiao Yu block here. Let's put Miguel in rage. Excuse my button presses, I am using a fight stick, so it's kind of loud. Let's see. So basically, they made Xiao Yu stay closer. Basically, the opponent is closer on block after first attack. So before, the rage drive would push back more on first hit, and then the opponent would be able to evade it easier. So I guess now they're more susceptible to get hit if they try to move, if they obviously time it wrong or whatever. So that's pretty good on block. You can throw it out, but I'd rather save the rage. You know, here and there you can throw it out if you know it's gonna hit. The second change to his rage drive is opponent reaction on hit of first attack was changed. So I don't really see much of a difference here because if the first hit hits the opponent, the second hit it's gonna hit them. So I wonder why they changed it. Now, it always was a screw attack as well. Like I said, when you do it in combos, as I will show here, you can't get a second one, like Lily or Lee. So you always want to replace it as the tailspin attack, and then you get your combo. Guess they just wanted to amp up his combo game with his rage drive and give him more of like a use for it. So maybe down back 2, down forward 1. Yeah, there we go. So I guess that's the thing that they did for his rage drive. At least they made it less bad. Now onto the second alteration, his 1-2-4 string. Now this string is pretty good to use as a mix-up. Let me get him out of rage mode just so it won't have okay. So his 1-2-4 is this string. 3 highs. Risky when you do it. You have to basically interrupt people with it. You can also get a mix up with 1+2 as a mid. So with people that are very passive and defensive, you can just mix it up. Usually if they try to interrupt it, you know, they might get hit. Who knows? It varies a lot. So let's look at the first alteration to his 1-2-4 string. Damage changed from 16 to 20. So the last hit is 20, as you can see there. The second thing is active frames increased by 1 frame. So that's a different thing now. Opponent closer on block. So let's have Zhao Yu block it. Because this used to push back. I think I remember that. Yep. The last kick used to push back a little bit. So now they get stuck in this vicinity of the attack string. So that's pretty good. They can't get away. Next alteration is opponent reaction changed on hit. Now they're talking about the 4 in the 1-2-4. So let's just change it back. She basically gets knocked back. This creates more combos. I like doing down 1+2. You could obviously do the shoulder tackle, but I feel like down 1+2 helps you recover a little bit faster. So if you have an opponent that's like trying to block everything and they try to attack or they try to move, you know, like right now Zhao Yu can block it because this isn't a guaranteed hit string. And then the last change they did for this string is hitbox expanded downward. Now for it being highs, I guess for the 4 they made the hitbox expand downward. Now on to the next alteration. The move that they did was 1-2 1+2. This is part of the 1-2 string family. Basically 1+2 is the mid. Move comes out faster by 3 frames. So I'm pretty sure they made the 1+2 come out a little faster because previous of season 2 it was pretty dang slow and you would not want to just throw it out unless you have an opponent that's passive. And even if they were to try and interrupt with a slower move than what you're already doing, you will get a good counter hit off of it, which is launcher. So I can show it here. And then you can get a full combo after it, which is pretty awesome. Making the 1+2 come out faster is pretty nice. Gives it more use. And then off of counter hit, you could, you know, get a follow-up, which I like doing forward too. Next, we are going to his 3. His standing 3 is one of his moves that you won't see much of. They made this startup change from 15 frames to 13 frames. So I believe this is his 13 frame punish. It's part of a string 3-4. So this comes out, you can punish a 13 frame with it. And it's a high, of course, but it goes into 3-4. So that string is 36 damage. That isn't bad. For 13 frame, you get 36 damage. 2-hit combo. Proceeding to the next move, it's 3-4. Hits now change, so they made this guaranteed. From -11 frames to -12 frames on block, so that's different. Let's continue down the list. Next move, which is one of my favorite moves for Miguel, is forward +4. This is part of a string. Forward 4+4 too. This move is homing. I've always wondered why it would whiff sometimes in people's faces because they didn't have much range. But they increased the hitbox on this. They expanded it, which is pretty good. It's nice. It has a little bit more range now. It catches more, which is awesome. And once you get the first hit, you can get the second hit. I love doing it near the wall. If you don't finish it, if you do finish it, you will get a wall splat and you can do your little wall combo. So for regular they just expanded the hitbox, there's nothing else, but for the string forward +4 2, they changed it from -13 frames to -12 frames on block. Recovery decreased on hit by 4 frames. A lot of these changes are like, they compensate or they make it much better. It's just one of those things like they making him a little better, but they're also trying to tone him down because I'm pretty sure if they gave Miguel his range back on his limbs, left and right arms, 1 2 2 1, he'd just be crazy good. So continuing, the next move, which is one of my favorites, down forward +4, they expanded the hitbox. Oh, that is so nice. I love that move so much. this mid. It's part of a string. It's a mid-high mid. And using this as a poke and mixing it up when finishing it and when not finishing it, because it can be delayed, it's so awesome. It's good to be used like at semi-tip range. So they made the hitbox more so you can be able to poke your opponent with this. This is not a bad mid poke. Besides down forward one. Down forward one is obviously like awesome, but this one is pretty good too. So next move are the Savage Stance moves. This is gonna be nice. During Savage Stance 2, damage changed from 27 to 32. That is pretty nice. Changed it by like 5 points. That's like a huge buff. Like, what the heck? This is like a really good combo ender too, and it wall splats. And it's so good for mix-up game. It's so awesome. That's one of my favorite moves too. Next move is during Savage Stance 1-4, causes wall bounce on hits. So, with this one, which was shown in the Season 2 trailer when you watch the full one with everybody and their wall bounce moves, we can totally see it here. So I am going to pick... I'll pick Mishima Building. As you can see, his Savage 1-2 wall bounces. Counter hit, you get the full string. And then non-counter hit, if you get the last one, you can get the whole thing. So obviously this can go very far as well. So we can totally reset it. So let's move forward. Just a little bit more. Perfect. You can do that. You can be silly like V, or there's so many like things you can do with this wall bounce mechanic. That was way too far. It's like semi-close, not super far range. Sometimes it whips on Zhao Yu because it's Zhao Yu, or I'm not doing it fast enough, but anyway, on anybody else it will work. So you can do different wall carries, you can do down back 2, you can do down forward 4-1, you can do forward 1, forward 1, forward 1. You know, it doesn't matter. As long as you get the wall carry and the wall combo, you're good. And the damage is so much more because Miguel Savage 2 was increased. The damage is increased by like 5 points. That is so crazy. I cannot believe that. It is amazing. We got the wall bounce out of the way. During Savage Stance 4, this move is opponent reaction changed on hit. So this knockdown for Savage 4, it's the same thing as back forward +1. It's a similar knockdown effect. It's like identical. So you can get good Oki out of it. So I usually follow up back forward 1 with Savage down forward 2. Depending on how they wake up. If they wake up backwards, you can actually get a full launcher and a full combo. With Savage 4, this is also a high, so I guess it's like similar. And then you can go with the Oki game and whatever your choosing is. Still trying to figure it out, of course. But they changed the reaction on it, and then it causes a screw on counter hits. Obviously in a stage small like this, you want to do a simple walk like that. Of course, it lives on Zhao Yu. But yeah, that's pretty good. So if you're in Savage Stance, or if you're going into it and you somehow get the counter hit, either reaction, normal hit, counter hit, you're gonna get a guaranteed follow-up after it. So that is really, really good that they made his Savage Stance 4 do that. Those changes are amazing, and it's a really good buff, I would say. So the next one is during Savage Stance down forward 2, the long range with Punisher, one of my favorites. Opponent farther away on hits and block. So with this move, they go farther back. It doesn't show much, but they do. And this affects one of my favorite combos where I do Savage up forward 3 after it. I cannot connect that after it. It's also a blessing and a curse because I am sacrificing a few points of damage that I usually do, but at the same time, I don't think down back 2 after Savage down forward 2 is going to go right through them anymore. That is one problem I had, and I think that's why they fixed it. is because when I would do Savage Down Forward 2, this doesn't push back. You might do a down back 2, and then he would just hit the air. He would just whiff, and then his back will be towards the opponent. And that's a no-no. I mean, it switches sides, but it pisses me off. Like, I've had that happen to me in real matches that I've lost, and it's really frustrating. But I find it that this is better. Like, in all regard, I think it's much better because it's more consistent, I would say. So the next change on during Savage Stance Down Forward +2 is the homing is decreased. This move used to catch people when they tried sidestepping, and it was so great, but I can see why people would get really upset. So they made this move a little, like, way more linear than it already was. So this move cannot be abused as much anymore as a straight up whiff punish when you know that they're negative or they completely, like, missed. Just throw it out. But, you know, anything other than that, try not to. I mean, having more pushback on it, maybe they won't be able to punish it as easily. But, yeah, no homing on this move as much. So, that's what we have to deal with. During Savage Stance Down Back 4, this is a low sweep, a really slow-ish snake edge. It's a good high crush. You can combo into it. They changed it to a homing attack, so it goes all around. I guess people would sidestep it. And the second thing that they did to it was startup change from 28 frames to 26 frames. Okay, so they lowered the frames. I mean, I think I might use this move more often since it's a homing now, so I wouldn't have to worry about people trying to step it. But with passive players, they will hop kick it, they will low crush it, they will low parry it, so just gotta be careful with this move, guys. Next move that we are looking is Savage Stance Back +2. This is his parry. You know, a lot of people were like, what the heck, Miguel has a parry? And it's funny because it wasn't useful. I mean, I've seen Knee do it on stream to Fang players a lot because Fang players like to jab, jab, jab a lot. And, you know, a lot of his stuff is, you know, just punches and stuff. And this parry can just parry punches, obviously. So what they did with this move is they made it into a combo extender. So they get stunned and you could follow it up. So let's get Xiao Yu to do an attack. So let me go all the way up. It's not really that easy. You know, and get your little wall combo. Any, like, extension that'll wall carry, you can just get it for that parry. And so there is an incentive to use the parry now, which is great, but it's for reads. Like, you have to know that it's gonna land. I feel like he's great in Season 2. I can't wait to keep using him and understanding him more. I feel like I'm relearning the character all over again, which is very refreshing, considering I haven't been on this game a lot. Gives me much more incentive. Still waiting on Zafina Season 2. Hopefully she makes it, and then I could totally find another character to learn because nobody else in this game really interests me. I'm just waiting to see if she's in. That'll be it for today's video, you guys. I just wanted to do my thoughts and discussion on Miguel in Season 2. I think he's so much better, and I can't wait to see a lot of tournament players use him at his fullest potential, and maybe I can learn a few things as well. Thank you for watching this video, guys, and I will see you in the next one.